Hi guys, this is Carrie with Fullerton Professional Organizing. I hope everyone had a great Christmas, and I am going to start my podcast up again. I took a little break over the Christmas holiday. Um, I had a great Christmas, even though we really didn't get to spend it with family. My father in law, we were going to all get together at my father in law's house, and uh, he caught COVID for the first time, and he's doing well. He went to the doctor. He's been taking his COVID tests, and he didn't wind up in the hospital. And he's doing well, but he really wasn't feeling good enough for all of us to be there over Christmas. Even though we would have taken great care of him, you understand how it feels when you're sick and you have so many people over. So we are going to wait. We did send him lots and lots of food. Everyone sent him food from HEB, from restaurants. We did dote on him from afar. But also, we had a new shower put in our bathroom. So we had workers coming in and out before, and now today they did paint. So before and after Christmas, they have been working on our bathroom. So we've been very, very busy. That was our Christmas present to each other. My husband and I did not exchange gifts, and because our new shower was our gift to each other. We really desperately needed it, and we like to share experiences now that we are empty nesters. So we are going to, we put all our funds into the things we need for our home and for our vacations. We like to take vacations. You know, we didn't take a lot when the kids were young. We went to Disney, and we mostly would visit family and do things like that. Now that the kids are out on their own, you know, we are able to do a little more. Of course, they are always welcome to come. But that's the way things have been here over the last couple of weeks. I did have a job, a discard and donate job for someone that was moving to Houston, so that kept me pretty busy as well. We were able to discard and donate everything that she wanted to get rid of before she made the move. And so that kept me busy, and I've got some projects coming up this week. But because this is the season where in January everyone starts trying to eat a little healthier and exercise, I'm just going to do this video is going to be a little bit on eating healthy, and from a few people that I have been listening to. There is a Melissa Lanz. We're going to talk about her ideas. Jaime Bacon and her ideas. And we've talked about Laura Fuentes before, and we're going to talk a little bit about her ideas for eating healthy in the new year. So I hope these are helpful. I try to keep them simple for you so it's not too complicated, because a lot of the plans that I remember in my earlier marriage trying to implement meal plans and etc. was way overwhelming for me. So I'm hoping to keep this a little bit simplified. But what we're going to start with Melissa Lanz, a meaningful plan. She says her business started as a one-off favor to a friend, another busy corporate working woman who felt like she needed a meal plan to eat right. And don't we all? I mean, we do need a meal plan, but meal plans usually are so complicated and so time consuming. And the catalyst for change was when her husband said, "We need to talk." She realized that she didn't do the things she loved anymore. She wasn't present for her two kids and she wasn't spending time with her family. Things needed to change. She talks about how she decided on her business and got it started. It was a great risk going from six figures to zero, but Melissa was in so much pain. She says it didn't really feel like a risk. Do you need to hear this today? I mean, really. Sometimes we just have to sacrifice our six figures for a change if in our health. Our health is more important. People live in a lot of pain and don't want to change their situation because they feel it's too risky. They don't realize that the other side of that risk is a rescue for their happiness and their health. Now, I don't know what her personal situation was around that, but we're just going to talk about some of the things that she suggests. She says $50 weekends as a tool for saving money and helping with transition when finances change. She says how getting creative about family time and going out on the cheap can lead to things that fuel and enhance your life. Having a plan that lets you buy healthy foods even on a budget, save time, cuts waste, and lets you get your kids involved with grocery shopping without ending up with lots of junk in your cart. Find the spot where you can slow down in the week. Create a food rhythm can help. Creating a food rhythm can help your relationships with your kids, your spouse, your friends, and making soup to cope with fear. All right. Melissa Lanz is a former internet marketing executive who quit her day job to promote good eating habits in the midst of a national health crisis. As founder of the Fresh 20, Melissa strives to bring fresh food back to the household table and reduce the amount of processed ingredients being used. During the fall of 2009, and I'm going to give you links to all of these people's information, Melissa decided her efforts to create this tool for busy families and singles stuck in a takeout during families and singles that are stuck in a takeout rut. And that's exactly where my husband and I were before the pandemic. For health reasons, we had to make a change. And on the other hand, we were so glad that we started to make changes before the pandemic hit, because that would have been too much at one time. So we were already cutting back on going out to eat before the pandemic hit. So when the pandemic hit and it forced our hand, then it made it a lot easier because we had already started processing. So that is a little bit about her, and then we're going to quickly talk about her plan ahead for health. Whether or not you enjoy cooking, Melissa shares 3 tips to help us to plan ahead for health. Use glass containers. I've switched all to glass containers. If your family can see the food, they will be more likely to eat it. Melissa says every goal needs a plan, and sometimes I think because we eat every day, we forget that it takes a little bit of planning. So she says planning ahead is the key, and it really is, and it really doesn't have to be as hard as we have made it in the past, because usually we're all or nothing. We don't have to be all or nothing. We can take baby steps. Planning ahead, knowing what is on your schedule for the week, is the best way to stay on track. Not planning for the activities of the week result in ordering takeout, which leads to not making good choices. When you plan and prep, you get a visual guide for how you're doing, like staying hydrated and what your next steps might need to be. That's just an example. I did see a short little video where I saw a person put some, I think what it was some rice in. She got out 4 or 5 containers. She put in rice, she put in raw chicken, she put in cheese and some chopped tomatoes and seasoning. And I guess she created this recipe, so I'm not real sure what it was, but I just found the way she did it interesting. Since she did it in these glass containers, she put all of the 5 glass containers in the oven and they all cooked at the same time. Then when they all cooled, she put lids on them, and she had already prepped these meals, and they cooked in the oven with fresh ingredients. And when they cooled, she sealed them. And I don't know if she, put them in the refrigerator for that week or put them in the freezer, but you could probably do that twice with 2 different meals and rotate them every other day for 2 weeks. And then you have 2 weeks of lunches or whatever she used them for. I'm not sure. It could have been supper. I'm not sure. Or it could have just been for 4 people and they're in individual containers, which we're going to talk about later. And then if they had a busy day, they could choose. They're all eating the same meal, but at different times, and then they can just microwave it because it's in a glass container. So that is very helpful, and we're going to learn more about this as we go. Toss pre-made pasta with a little olive oil to keep it from sticking together. Glass containers are essential for portion control and planning for leftovers. We call those planned overs. Use mason jars to prep salads. Layer it by putting the harder ingredients at the bottom, heartier ingredients at the bottom, adding less hearty ingredients as you get to the top. Then, you have just 2 tablespoons of salad dressing. Then when you get to wherever you're going to be eating the salad, you just shake it up and it gets a little bit of that salad dressing on every piece because you're able to shake it up in there. Now, there are several ways to plan ahead. You can use a meal plan service. Now, I have used Factor meals. They are pretty expensive, but they taste delicious. We have not found one yet that we did not like, and we really weren't sure. But I've also taken some cues from those meals and started making my own Factor meals. But we only use the Factor meals on Fridays because that's our frozen meal day. Making meal planning a lot easier, I have a frozen where you take it and just stick it in the oven. Whether it's a freezer meal from the grocery store or a freezer meal that you planned ahead to make and freeze for that time for Friday, that's what we do. That way it's less expensive because we only have our Factor meals on Fridays. Fridays Factor meals. See how that works? All right. Post your meal plan where the family can see it. Reduces stress and can give the family something they can look forward to. Prep ahead dips and sauces to make snacks and salads easier. You can also prep any grains and pastas you will be using for the week to save an extra 10 to 20 minutes. Roast and bake ahead any meats that you can later fix in pastas, rice, or salads. So see, some of this is just some simple things that you can do to plan ahead for healthier meals. And when they're talking about healthier meals, they're talking about healthier meals because it's not processed and you're cooking at home, so you have control over all the ingredients. like for my husband and I, which I've mentioned in the past, and it may be beating a dead horse, maybe you're tired of hearing it, but because he's diabetic, the essentials that we have in our diet instead of pasta and rice is cauliflower, mushrooms, cabbage, what is it? Cabbage, cauliflower, mushrooms, and for me, I would say zucchini, but my husband does not like zucchini, so that is not an option for us. But for you, it could be zucchini. It could also be spaghetti squash. It depends on your taste buds and if that's something that you like. Because for me, if you cook any of that in butter and the right seasonings, to me, it's delicious. Whether it's exactly like spaghetti and noodles and rice, for me, it doesn't matter. It's the taste. So whichever one that you like the best, those are the ones that you can pre-cook those and freeze them and then have that ready for when you make your meals as well. Now, her ideas for the Fresh 20, I'm just going to go over some of her meal prep. She's got a meal prep guide that I think you can purchase on her website. But she says, look at your calendar for the week, start with a plan, work off the prep guide, set aside enough time to shop and prep. Think about the times during the week that are the greatest challenge. Is it sports? Your kids have sports or activities after school. Prep tips that she has is make sure everything's labeled, gathered in groups. The week's menu includes a power smoothie, peel banana and avocado and add to sealed bags. That means have everything chopped and prepped in baggies so it's ready to go in the morning. Boil your eggs, have those all ready to go. Plan for breakfast, make a big breakfast, a super big breakfast, and have all that prepped and frozen for the week, and make sauces that you can use. That's one of the things that I learned from Factor Meals also is you can have hamburger patties and change up the cheese sauces, Parmesan cheese sauce, hollandaise sauce. All these sauces can change up your meals, and then make sure all your veggies are washed. Schedule shopping and prep. Make an appointment for your health. Plan ahead. Keep it simple. Waste not. Wash and chop. Timing is everything. Room saving strategy. Store individual cut veggies in a single container and measure out your portion daily. Veggie snack packs. You can have those pre-portioned. Having some marinades and dressings made ahead. Full meals in advance. If you're going to make a dinner, make a second, double the ingredients so you can have those dinners frozen and ready to go on those busy days. The grocery shop, have a grocery shopping plan. If you have a pre-made grocery list that you can just circle the things that you need and buy those at the grocery store. Essential kitchen tools are important. Having the right knives and pots and pans and skillets and all of that, it makes it very helpful also. Let's see. What else does she say? She has a lot of things that and she has a lot of recipes for salads. Having a bunch of different recipes for salads are very helpful. So let's see. Roast and bake ahead any meats that you can later mix in the pastas, rice, and salads. All right, now let's see. Fresh 20 plan prep portion. Know your schedule and plan ahead. The Fresh 20 is a paid service that can do it all for you as well. She has a paid service you can order from her. I already mentioned I order the Keto Factor meals, but keep a well-stocked pantry with healthy ingredients. Post your meal plan so that they are ready to eat healthier. Prep and make ahead dips and sauces. That's just a little bit of a review there. Now, a guide to healthy meal planning by Jaime Bacon, and I will leave her information as well. Some of her healthy meal plan is salsa chicken bowls. She makes those ahead of time and freezes them for quick frozen meals. She cooks her chicken in salsa and mixes it with some cooked chicken, rice, and black beans. And that is a freezer meal that she likes. Now, she uses zucchini noodles to make pasta. I like using cabbage for my pasta noodles. That works well for me. Or the cauliflower also works. Mixing in some mushrooms for that pasta-y texture, sort of. It just depends on what I'm making. If it's going to be a spaghetti sauce, then I like to put mushrooms in there. Sausage links are a fast meal. I sometimes do that on Sundays. Having breakfast for dinner is a good one. And link sausage, if you have any, make some extra link sausage and have it with cauliflower, or in your case rice, but in my case I have cauliflower instead of rice. All right, so that's some of my ideas mixed with Jaime's ideas. Jaime helps us to find our definition of healthy and gives us her 5-step meal planning process to relieve the stress and confusion of healthy meal planning. Having a stocked pantry of staple foods means you will always have meals available to cook. And she has a whole list of stuff on her website that will help you with that. Having a stocked pantry of staple foods means you will always have meals available to cook. Jaime says now more than ever, people are putting a huge focus on their health, but all the information out there is overwhelming, and I do agree. There are many definitions of healthy, and none of them are wrong. The amount of your grocery budget isn't as important as actually sticking to the budget. Some suggested foods to keep stocked are, if you're not diabetic, are rice. I will say cauliflower. Dried or canned beans, peanut butter, pasta, and in my case, instead of pasta, cooked cabbage. And then sauces, oats. For us, we can't eat oats because because of the diabetes. But frozen veggies, I suggest as many green veggies as you can, and you can add those green veggies into your ground beef when you cook your ground beef, so that you have a little bit of health built into your ground beef that's not really intrusive. You can chop up spinach and other vegetables that you can't taste possibly in the ground beef. Frozen chicken, ground beef, or ground turkey. Make meals healthier by being aware of salad dressing portions. She says 2 tablespoons of salad dressing, and adding protein and as many green vegetables as you can. Decide what your definition of healthy is based on your family's dietary needs. In our case, the diabetes. In your case, it may be something else. But based on your family's dietary needs as a guideline for meal planning. Find your budget. This may vary based on your dietary needs as well. Try to plan meals based on what is on sale. That's always a great idea. She says that if pasta is on sale and you can eat pasta, buy $5 worth of pasta and have stocked up in your pantry. The same with anything that's on sale. Pay a little $5 extra so you can have a little bit of a backstock. If you are an impulsive shopper, try online shopping to help you keep your budget. Set aside a certain amount, for example, and this is what I just mentioned, $5 each week to work towards stocking up on your staples that are on sale. Set a timer for 10 minutes and write down all your family's favorite meals. Try to list enough for 1 to 2 months. See, and that's where I used to get overwhelmed when I first got married. They'd want me to write every meal that I can cook on a sheet of paper so you have that whole list. Well, by the time I wrote that whole list, I was so burned out, I never finished any of my meal planning. So I suggest, like her, even if you just do 5 minutes, sit down for 5 minutes and make a list. Tomorrow, do another 5 minutes, until you have an extensive list. You don't have to sit down and do it all at once and be so overwhelmed. Break it down into 5-minute, 10-minute lists and make sure that way you just keep adding to that list as you go. Ask these 5 questions when meal planning. What have I run out of this week that I need to keep a running list of? For us, we tend to run out of Truvia, sometimes eggs, sometimes our breakfast sausage, and our heavy cream. Those are things we have to have every week. So I do try not to run out of those items. So I make a running, a list of those, a permanent list. Those are permanently on my grocery list. What can I make from my pantry that's already in our back stock? What can I make from what's on sale? What can I make from my master meal plan list? And do I have any emergency freezer meals? Okay, so these are all things that will help. Create a grocery budget, create an inventory pantry and freezer inventory. Even if it's mental, just know what's in your pantry and what's in your freezer. Create that master meal list, do it small chunks at a time, and schedule meal planning. Don't make it hard. Make it super, super simple. And there are a lot of sugar-free salad dressings out there now. So she suggests only 2 tablespoons of dressing will cut down on your calorie intake as well. Because if you eat a salad, but you add all your calories in salad dressing, it kind of defeats the purpose. But increase your protein in every meal, and it can be by boiled eggs or beans. It doesn't just have to be with meat. And then there's those vegan meat substitutes, protein substitutes as well. And add lots of green veggies. And I already mentioned I chop up spinach in my ground beef, but if you can chop up any carrots or anything into your ground beef that is healthier, that your kids won't eat by itself, but if you hide it in the ground beef, they can get some of the nutrients from that. And then the 3 things for when you don't have a lot of time: make dinner ahead and freeze it in individual portions or individual containers so everyone can eat when they have time. Make 1 or 2 freezer meals. Sometimes it can just be chicken in a marinade. Double a dinner and freeze. meal plan once a week, and pre-chop and pre-cook things like your veggies, or in my case, my cauliflower, my mushrooms, my cabbage, hamburger patties. I season those with hamburger seasoning, and I put a little bit of soy sauce on them in the middle, so some of that seasoning sinks into the meat, and then I freeze it raw because I cook those in my air fryer and they cook nice and juicy. All right, guys, I am gonna kind of end here. It's getting a little bit lengthy. We're at 30 minutes now, but I hope you find this helpful. A busy mama's meal planning checklist. Go ahead and make a checklist. Schedule time to meal plan. Add the essentials. Check your pantry. Check the sales ads. Check your master list. Buy an emergency meal. Do you have at least 5 dinners planned? Do you have 7 days of breakfasts? Do you need 7 days of breakfast? Do you need lunches, or can you just eat the leftovers for lunch? Do you have snacks, healthy snacks, so that you have something to reward yourself with? Schedule a prep time. And then she also has on her website 5 ways to eat healthy on a budget. Base meals around in-season produce. Make your own pastries. Make your own pancake mixes. That list is very long. I'm not going to list the whole thing here, but I may have a part 2, and maybe I'll add that to my part 2 on eating healthier. This is part 1, and our next one will be part 2, and we'll add in some 51 ways to eat healthy on a budget to my next podcast. All right, guys, we're at 31 minutes. I hope you liked this. Please start giving me thumbs ups and subscribing to my channel, because it really does help other people see what I am putting out in my podcast. It really helps my family and friends base grow. It helps my podcast. It helps me as a professional organizer, and I really want you to enjoy and really want this to help as many people as possible. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you for listening.